Welcome back, sharks. As always, before we begin, a quick reminder that our Welcome Moon giveaway is still ongoing. I'm currently hosting a giveaway of 5 Welcome Moons, so if you want a chance to win, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's begin with Varka. Varka is being presented as an Anemo damage dealer, but reducing him to that description would be misleading. His kit is constructed around conditional amplification tied directly to team composition. Once he enters Gale Rush mode, his normal attacks are enhanced, and his dual greatswords apply 2 separate damage types simultaneously, a memo from his left blade and a secondary elemental type from his right blade, determined by party composition. That secondary damage cannot be overridden. This is not cosmetic design, it is enforced synergy. His breakthrough talent introduces the core of his power. If you run at least 2 Anemo characters or 2 characters of the same Pyro, Hydro, Electro, or Cryo element, his core attacks are amplified to 140% of their normal value. If both structural conditions are met simultaneously, that amplification rises to 220%. This is multiplicative style scaling disguised as a team-building requirement, rewarding accounts with depth and punishes casual composition. On top of that, Varka gains additional damage through swirl-triggered stacks, further incentivizing reaction uptime. His internal loop encourages rapid normal attack sequences, cooldown reduction through hits, and controlled skill weaving. In optimized scenarios, he will have consistent AoE presence and sustained field pressure. In Spiral Abyss, this translates into strong multi-target control and very stable 36-star potential in Floor 12, provided the team is constructed intentionally. Floor 11 becomes trivial. However, he is not universally forgiving. If your roster lacks strong elemental partners or if you cannot meet his composition thresholds, his performance will drop noticeably compared to his theoretical ceiling. At Constellation 0, he is powerful but conditional. At C2, his damage spikes dramatically as well as C6, turning him oppressive. So the question is not whether he can scale, it's whether your account can support that scaling. Now let's look at Flins. Flins is built around Lunar-Charged, a modified evolution of Electro-Charged. He converts standard Electro-Charged reactions into Lunar-Charged and directly scales its base damage off his ATK. He also increases Lunar-Charged damage through passives and, at higher constellations, reduces electro resistance and further amplifies reaction output. Unlike Varka, Flins does not scale primarily through raw attack chains. He scales through reaction consistency. His damage ceiling is tied to hydro uptime and reaction frequency. Without sustained hydro application, his impact diminishes. The important consideration here is metastability. As Lunar-Charged has become a favored reaction in Abyss rotations, Flins remains extremely valuable. However, if it declines to a niche, he'll become specialized. He is a current-oriented investment rather than a universally safe pull. He is strong, but he is not F2P flexible. Now in the second half, Skirk presents a different type of carry. Skirk does not rely on traditional energy mechanics. Instead, she builds and consumes Serpent's subtlety to unleash her burst. Her stance system, 7-phase flash, enhances her normal attack sequences and modifies her burst into havoc, extinction. Her kit heavily rewards Hydro and Cryo teammates, especially through freeze, superconduct, and Cryo swirl triggers, which generate void rifts that she can absorb for scaling. This is not a flexible carry. This is a composition-locked Cryo execution unit. When paired correctly in freeze-focused teams, her damage scaling becomes extremely high. She gains normal attack multipliers and burst amplification based on team interaction. So with Hydro and Cryo synergy properly maintained, she can perform very well in Spiral Abyss, particularly in freeze-friendly chambers. However, in boss chambers resistant to freeze or where crowd control is limited, her value drops compared to more universally adaptable units. She is powerful within her intended archetype. Outside of it, she is restricted. And finally, Escoffier. Escoffier is not a primary damage dealer. She is an enabler. Her elemental skill provides cryo application and resistance shred, scaling with the number of Hydro and Cryo teammates. At maximum synergy, that resistance reduction becomes significant. Her burst provides team-wide healing scaling with ATK, ensuring freeze teams maintain stability. Her constellations, particularly C1, elevate her from supportive to highly amplifying. A 60% cryo-critical damage increase in full hydro or cryo teams is not minor. That is transformative for freeze compositions. She directly enhances units like Skirk in ways that are difficult to replicate. However, her value is tied almost entirely to hydro or cryo archetypes. Outside of that, she loses much of her identity. Now for the decision. If you are seeking the most adaptable long-term 5-star in 6.4, Varka's output is heavily conditional and often underwhelming unless you deliberately engineer teams around his thresholds. In practice, he feels more restrictive than rewarding. Skirk is powerful within freeze compositions, but she is composition locked. Her ceiling is high, but only inside hydro or cryo environments. Outside of freeze, her value declines significantly. Flins remains the most meta-dependent option. If Lunar-Charged remains a dominant reaction archetype, he will rise sharply in value. However, if it becomes a declining reaction in the near patches, he may become specialized and difficult to justify over more established reaction drivers. So overall, the most stable and strategically valuable unit in this patch is Escoffier. Escoffier provides cryo application, team-wide healing, scalable resistance shred tied to hydro or cryo presence, and at higher investment levels, extremely aggressive amplification for cryo damage. This means that, unlike others, her value does not hinge on personal field time or reaction overhauls. She strengthens entire team archetypes. She improves existing cryo carries, and she future-proofs freeze compositions, whilst not demanding strict mechanical execution. My personal recommendation is this. If you are pulling for long-term account value and meta stability, Escoffier is the strongest choice in 6.4. Skirk becomes extremely attractive if you are already invested in freeze. Varka is experimental, and Flins is speculative. So yeah, sharks, that's it for today. Let me know in the comments, are you pulling for Varka, Skirk, Escoffier, or Flins? Or will you be skipping for someone else down the line? Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Welcome Moon giveaway while it's still running. And with everything said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.